everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering something totally different for us. This time it's the live-action movie titled Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yes, which we absolutely have no knowledge of prior to this movie.
It's just first time ever with it.
And this film is actually an adaptation, we learned, of both a series of books and a short film by the same name. And it focuses on the titular Sky Captain as he must stop a mysterious force that started a robot revolution that threatens to destroy the world in order to create a new one.
Prepare for trouble.
And make it double.
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click notifications. We'll do some future podcasts and more to pause videos.
Definitely. So this is a really old school superhero.
Yes, absolutely. And didn't even know it was a book until we read the back of the case and it said, read the original books from Onyx Books. And we were actually stunned that this was actually based off something that existed long ago. We originally thought it was just like a slightly recent comic or book. It just took place in that time period. But it looks like it was made decades ago. And then someone decided back in the 2000s to make a movie or short film first, then a full-length film out of it.
And actually, I learned about this movie years ago from an uncle who actually bought the movie and was familiar with the books and the movie, of course. And I began watching it but never finished it. So actually, finally watching it with Rascal, finished the entire movie, and now I know what it's about, and got to see some of the things that, I should say, some of the filming techniques that were used and what they were trying to do with this movie.
Yeah, and as a bonus feature on the DVD, you actually get to see the short film itself, and you can tell the whole idea was to make it feel like you were watching a little movie made decades ago when films or talkies were first being made. They were really trying to capture that feel, and the cheesiness of it was supposed to help that feeling. Then they transferred to the film, it was in color instead of black and white, so it kind of changed it a little bit, and they tried to stick as much as possible to the story and the concept. So some things worked and some things didn't, but at least you knew they were putting effort into it and trying something.
Definitely. One thing that kind of was off to me about getting into the movie itself is it had this constant like inner light effect where it was glowing all the time, and I think if they had not done that and just filmed it like a regular movie, which we've seen a lot of them do, like The Rocketeer and so forth,
right?
And those movies are just filmed like a movie without adding the special effects to it. I think if they hadn't done that, then I probably could have gotten more into the movie, but it just kept throwing me off that there was this glow and this yellow, vibrant glow that was all over the film itself. And I understand it was supposed to be an effect for that time period.
Yeah.
But I felt like Rascal said, they should have either done it in black and white or taken that glow effect off.
Yeah.
Either way, it would have been much more enjoyable and not reminding you that this was not a movie in the present.
Right. Because now that's pretty much how they do movies now. They're filmed like regular films, but you know it's a different time period and there's no special effects unless it's an animated film.
Now we had starring in here Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow and then also Angelina Jolie. So it was like, wow, okay, so you had
trifecta, I guess.
Right, and some other stars as well. For me, Gwyneth Paltrow was okay. I personally saw someone else I mentioned to you who I thought really would have been
good. It was
good.
the one who played Peggy Carter. Because she had done that role before, she would fit then.
I think she would have been great in that role. Now, I know this was made some time ago.
Right.
But I think she would have been better in the role. And it's not that Gwyneth Paltrow is not a great actor, because she is. I've seen her in movies like Seven. She is great. But I don't know, just something about this particular role that didn't convince me that she was from that time period.
Right.
Jude Law was great. Even Angelina Jolie fit.
Yeah.
And her role was kind of over the top.
Right.
But I don't know, it was just something about her performance that did not lend to your believing she was in the time period.
Exactly. And it almost brings to mind shows like Legend of Korra and others where they managed to capture that time period while having their own spin on them and melding two things together. And in here, like I said, they keep pretty accurate to the time period, adding in sort of fantastical thing too, with the giant robot invasion, which was a thing then. That robots were the big thing. What would they have in the future to make life easier or destroy the world? So they went with that theme.
Kind of remind you of War of the Worlds also.
Yeah.
Not only the original, but the remake with Tom Cruise.
Right.
Even though it was done in modern time, it still reminded you of that.
Right. And as you're watching it, you come to realize that, you know, Sky Captain is just a regular person. They usually do these hero type stories. A lot of the times they usually have powers, and sometimes they were like Batman where they had to rely on gadgets or wit or intelligence to save the day or save the world. And here it was more like a throwback to that, because nowadays characters with powers are now villains regardless of good or evil. They're always written as villains, and then the ones without powers, they're the good guys. So it was actually something interesting to see that there was no superpowered villain in here or a superhero. It was just a hero and then a mysterious villain. And the robots kind of act like maybe a metaphor for powers, like maybe powers going out of control. It was almost like, in a way, like something that would happen within the Iron Giant universe.
Now, that being said, I found the movie to be charming.
Yes.
Itself, and I found the banter between Gwyneth Paltrow and Jude Law. It worked.
Yeah.
It was fun. You got the kind of relationship they were supposed to have, and it was indicative of the films of that time.
Right.
If you've watched any, like I have with my Nana, I've seen a couple of these, and the type of sassy woman who's smart, capable, going to prove herself.
Yeah.
And then you don't have that clear-cut relationship between the two MCs in the movie. It's
Right.
always something where it's hinted at, it's a possibility, not really.
Was it will they or won't
One's
they?
in love more than the other. Both are tough. Both aren't going to really reveal their feelings. It's kind of like love is war. And it worked. That absolutely worked. It was fun, especially the ending. The ending was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
The ending was brilliant and perfect and fun.
Oh my god.
If this movie had ended any other way, I don't know how I would have taken it, but the way it ended, it just had me laughing. Minutes after, I was like, this is perfect.
Right. And so, you know, there is no sequel to it, either because they decided not to do more, or perhaps it was ahead of its time for being more different than other films at the time, or perhaps people didn't really care for it or even know what to expect because they didn't know the books.
I think you're right. I think if it were done now, I would say within the last 6 to 8 years,
Right.
it would have done better, because superheroes, you got the MCU and the DCU,
Right. And
all these other studios that are making superhero movies,
Right.
whether animated or live action.
Right.
I think it would have been better received.
Right, and for the ones that are feeling the superhero fatigue from Marvel and DC constantly churning out films and the same thing over and over, they could watch this along like stuff like with Invincible and Kid Cosmic and newer superhero shows that are doing different things with the concept. So you're right, I think this would probably have a resurgence now if they ever brought it back or rebooted or something.
And despite having the glow that kind of was distracting, it was beautifully filmed.
Mm-hmm.
The costumes were fantastic. I don't know how accurate they were, but I loved what they were wearing. And to me, from a couple movies I've seen during that time, they looked really good. I always loved the shoes from the 40s. I think that's when it was.
I believe so.
And I had a great aunt who had all these clothes and shoes from the 40s. And her shoes are absolutely gorgeous, and we would go and look through her closet. So that's what it reminded me of. But the special effects were also done really well.
Yes.
And so were the robots. The
Yeah.
the robots.
Yeah, that's true, because you knew that they weren't real, and at some points, yeah, it was obvious, but it fit for the tone because you knew these types of movies back then didn't have big budgets, so they kind of acted like it was a low-budget film with low-budget robots, so it worked out within the film.
Definitely. So if you've seen Spy Captain: The World of Tomorrow, let us know what you think in the comments below. If you're familiar with the book series or the short film, let us know about that as well. Picture the Imaginator, this might be something you're familiar
Yes.
with. And if you haven't seen Sky Captain, I don't know where you would get it. I don't know if it's on a streaming service or not. We were actually able to watch it because, again, one of our uncles owns it, so
Right.
we're able to go ahead and watch it and see it. But if not, we would recommend you do watch it. It's not going to be like something you watch now. Don't expect the big budget of current superhero films, but if you want a detour, as Rascal said, from what you've normally seen, you want to have fun watching something different, and you want a fantastic, brilliant, hilarious ending to a movie that's action and adventure, you definitely should see this movie.
Yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos of your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it and appreciate you. Let us know if you want us to check out your channel by leaving the name in the comments below or a link, and we will do so.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.